Did I ask you guys a question a couple days ago about? Oh yeah, I did. Because I remember. What makes something alive?
Yeah, that was yesterday.
So yes.
I was right.
You didn't like it.
So when we talk about living things in life, it may sound sort of like a simple question. Oh yeah, it's obvious we know what makes something alive, but it's not really always so obvious. Because there are certain things that kind of straddle the line, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So when we talk about living things, okay, there are some characteristics that all living things must do. These are life functions. These are processes that are important to all living things. And they're pretty general, because again, on Earth there's a huge diversity of living things. All sorts of plants and animals and bacteria and archaea and so forth. And so they accomplish these functions in many different ways. And so part of what we're going to talk about in this unit is what are the different ways in which organisms carry out nutrition or transport or regulation and so forth. So this is what we're going to use for our life functions. These 8 functions. We'll talk about each one in turn. So they are nutrition, transport, respiration, excretion, synthesis, regulation, growth, and reproduction. So let's talk about some of these. So these are the processes, the life functions that are carried out by all organisms. Something's alive that has to carry out those various functions.
Why do you have to throw in copyright?
So nobody else steals my work. And of course,
It's all over YouTube, though.
it's right, but I have copyrighted it.
Can you copyright something and you like got fined?
Yeah.
You told us that.
So
What? I
let's
didn't get
start off.
the processes.
It was like one sentence.
Well,
No, I
what
didn't
was
get
it?
it. Wait, what one sentence? There's
Process carried out by all living organisms.
Well, I didn't see
I
the
think you
sentence.
could hold that in your mind for 3 seconds. It might
I
take
didn't
you
even see
to
it.
actually write it down.
It would have been better if I had actually seen
darn.
it. It would have.
So life functions.
I can't see it still.
I've got to sign up for those anger management classes.
I'm betting we go more than 2 slides.
Count to 10. What?
Trying.
Yeah.
I don't know if he knows.
All right.
5 minutes. And
So, one of those life functions is homeostasis. Okay. And so, maintaining homeostasis, these life functions help to do that. And homeostasis is a key term for you to know. So, what is homeostasis? What does that word mean? It's the one you're going to see a lot. You'll see it on the SAT, biology. You'll see it on the Regents exam all the time. So what is it, Sophia?
From 7th grade, I remember it being like maintaining your body heat.
That's an example.
Okay.
That's one example of homeostasis.
Keeping something constant.
Yeah, sort of keeping things in balance because it's not quite constant. You know, if we were to monitor our body temperature throughout the day, it wouldn't be a graph that looks like this. We'll go up and down, but it stays around a certain level. Okay, balance. We call that dynamic equilibrium, where it's not just constant, just like our blood sugar. It doesn't stay at one level. It goes up and down, but our body has certain means of regulating it and keeping it around the same level. That's called dynamic equilibrium, steady state, or a state of balance. That's what homeostasis is, maintaining that internal environment. Also important is this term metabolism. In this section of our course, we're going to talk about biochemistry and the various chemical reactions that happen within a living thing. And they're very, very complex. We have all these various processes and chemical reactions taking place in all of our cells, within organelles of our cells. And all of these chemical reactions, the sum of all of them is what we call metabolism. Okay? I want to show you this little image here because it gives you an idea about how complex our metabolism is. And scientists have studied this extensively. Okay? What are the various chemical reactions? What are all the enzymes and coenzymes and molecules that are interacting within our body, allowing us to stay alive? So if I click on this, this is just sort of a diagram. It shows an overview of some major metabolic pathways. So we have the metabolism of energy, of fats, carbohydrates, amino acids, and so forth. If I click on one of these, for example, energy metabolism, it'll bring me to another page showing, okay, there's different ways, different types of metabolism to get energy. Carbon fixation, oxidative phosphorylation, photosynthesis, and so forth. If we click on one of those, again, we get even further into oxidative phosphorylation, and we see the details and the various chemicals. And so there's scientists that study all of these various means of chemical reactions that take place, and it, like I said, it's very complex. We won't get into the details in this course, but we'll talk about some of the basics. All right, to finish up today, nutrition is also important. Nutrition is about how we obtain energy, how we take materials from the environment, energy from the environment, and use it for energy. As you know, living organisms obtain nutrition sort of two general categories, either heterotrophic or autotrophic. Autotrophic organisms, they make food or molecules for energy using light. Organisms that undergo photosynthesis, they have chlorophyll, the pigment that allows them to capture energy from the light. They undergo photosynthesis, where they take that light, rearrange molecules of carbon dioxide and water, and create carbohydrates with it. So examples, obviously plants, but also algae, some protists, some bacteria. There are many types of organisms that go through photosynthesis. Algae, protists. Then we have the heterotrophs. Heterotrophs, they have to consume other organisms in order to obtain their energy. That happens by ingesting molecules. That means taking in food. Digesting those food molecules, which means to break them into smaller pieces, simpler molecules that can be absorbed. And then eventually egestion is the removal of undigested food. This includes animals, also fungi, many protists, most bacteria. They're all heterotrophic. Tomorrow we'll talk about some of the other life functions.
Wait, today day 2?
No.
Wait, is the only homework? What's the only homework?
The workbook is your only homework.